The restaurant was nearly empty. It was late at night and most of the staff had already left, except for Jack, the young waiter who was wiping down the last few tables. His hands moved slowly, exhaustion weighing on him. Bills were piling up at home, his mother's medical expenses were overdue, and no matter how hard he worked, it felt like he was stuck in the same struggle every single day. As Jack sighed and reached for a rag, the bell on the restaurant door jingled. He looked up, surprised to see a tall young man enter, dressed simply in a hoodie and jeans. His face seemed familiar, but Jack couldn't place him. The young man scanned the empty restaurant, hesitated for a moment, then walked toward a corner booth and sat down. Jack grabbed a menu, forcing a polite smile. "Good evening, sir. What can I get for you?" The customer looked up, his eyes calm yet observant. It was Barron Trump. "Just a burger and a milkshake," he said quietly. Jack nodded and scribbled down the order, unaware that this would be the most unforgettable night of his life. But before we move ahead, where are you watching this video from? Comment your city below. And if you love stories like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Now, let's continue. Jack placed the order and kept glancing at the customer. Something about him felt oddly familiar, but he shook off the thought. Minutes later, he brought the food and set it down. "Here you go, sir. Let me know if you need anything else." Barron Trump nodded but didn't start eating. Instead, he looked up at Jack with quiet curiosity. "Do you like working here?" Jack hesitated. "It's a job," he finally said. "Not exactly my dream, but it pays the bills. Well, some of them." He forced a laugh. Barron studied him for a moment, then simply continued eating in silence. As the restaurant neared closing time, Jack kept cleaning, occasionally stealing glances at Barron Trump. Unlike most late-night diners, he wasn't scrolling on his phone or lost in thought. He was observing everything. Finally, Barron finished his meal, wiped his hands with a napkin, and reached into his pocket. He placed some cash under the plate, stood up and said, "Thanks for the food." Jack nodded. "Have a good night." Barron Trump gave him a small smile and walked out. Jack sighed and grabbed a cloth to wipe the table. But as he lifted the plate, he froze. Underneath the dish was a thick stack of $100 bills. His hands trembled as he counted. $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. His breath caught in his throat. Who would leave this kind of money? And then he noticed something else. A small, folded note. Jack picked it up, fingers shaking. Unfolding the paper, he read, "Hard work never goes unnoticed. You deserve better. Keep pushing forward." At the bottom, just two initials, -BT. Jack's mind raced. BT? It had to be Barron Trump. He quickly searched the initials online, and that's when it hit him. The young man who had just left was Barron Trump. Jack's mouth went dry. Barron Trump just ate at his restaurant and left him this huge tip? As Jack sat there in shock, another customer who had been sitting nearby walked over. "Hey, wasn't that Barron Trump?" the man asked. Jack barely managed a nod. The customer smirked. "Lucky guy. You know, not everyone gets that kind of generosity, but it kinda reminds me of someone else." Jack looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" "There was another waiter years ago working a night shift just like you. Some stranger noticed his struggles, gave him a boost, and that guy turned his life around. That stranger was Clint Eastwood." Jack's eyes widened. Another legendary figure, another unexpected act of kindness. By morning, the news was everywhere. Barron Trump's generous act leaves struggling waiter in tears. Jack's phone wouldn't stop ringing. People flooded his inbox, calling it a life-changing moment. And then, the most unexpected thing happened. Jack received a private message. It was short, just 5 words. "Hope this helps. Stay strong." It was from Barron Trump himself. Jack stared at the message, emotions swirling inside him. It wasn't just about the money, it was about someone noticing, someone caring. For the first time in years, he felt seen. He took a deep breath and smiled. Maybe this was the beginning of something new. And that's the power of kindness. Even the smallest act can change a life forever. If you want to hear more inspiring stories like this, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. You never know whose story might be next.